So hello, welcome to the presentation Gamification in Moodle, what, when, and how. And technologies in Knowledge One eConcordia. And I have a PhD in business computing, and I was a professor at the university and director of the Department of Virtual Education in 2 universities in Tunisia. I got the Moodle Educator certificate last year, and I am passionate by supporting teams and professors in the development of online courses and by the integration of innovative technologies.
My name is Emmy Hewitt. Nice to meet you all. I've been with Knowledge One and eConcordia for 5.5 years. My title is, wait for it, Lead Interactive Developer and Creative E-Learning Specialist. So that's a bit of a mouthful. What it basically means is that I lead a team of about 10, and growing team of about 10 people for the interactive developing part. We do a lot of the graphic design, some coding, integrating using authoring tools like Rise, Storyline, iSpring, and I'm a creative e-learning specialist because I'm a hybrid, so I'm also an instructional designer. So basically I'm finishing up my master's degree right now at Concordia University in Educational Technology. So today the presentation is going to revolve around a course that Yamna created and I helped her develop called UDL and Moodle. So UDL stands for Universal Design for Learning. If you aren't familiar with it, it's a set of principles and guidelines that promotes accessible learning materials for everyone. So this particular course developed by Yamna and I with a team of designers and instructional designers shows practical ways of incorporating UDL guidelines in Moodle. So let's zoom into the gamification module.
So we will be demonstrating the what, when, the what, when, and how of the gamification in Moodle. Let's begin with a short video that introduces the module in the course.
Hello, this is Yamna. Welcome to the module on gamification. Here's Dylan. Like many other students, when he gets bored, Dylan struggles to progress. His retention is low, and he ends up zoning out or procrastinating his work. One interesting way to introduce fun, collaboration, and competition is to have students earn stashed items, badges, certificates, or experience points in your course.
So Emmy will begin with the what and when. I will explain how, and then Emmy will show us an example of a gamification process.
All right, so let's start with a question. Write in the chat or raise your hand. What do you think gamification is or isn't? We have no access to the chat, so yes.
I wouldn't have thought this until recently, but now when I see that word, I think of online gambling. So that's all I have to say.
Online gambling. Yes.
I tend to think of it as a set of, thanks. I tend to think of it as a set of incentives, basically. Fundamentally, that's what I think about when I hear that.
Yeah. Yes, Ping.
I would say it's probably in some cases borrowing practices or design techniques in games and applying them in video games, in educational context.
Yeah. These are all really good answers. Oh, we have another hand up. Oh, fun.
I think of it as emotional engagement and like incentives and motivational patterns, harnessing motivational patterns.
Yeah. These are actually all really good answers.
Okay.
So basically, a common definition of gamification is to use game design elements in a non-game context, so education, for example. Some examples are like collecting badges when you complete tasks, finding stash items, so like little surprises and little Easter egg hunts here and there. trading them in for other types, trading them in for other types of things, receiving certificates, experience points. Just one thing to keep in mind though, gamification is not serious gaming. So game-based learning or video games, these are all different things. Despite the fact that they seem like they overlap, I'll explain that briefly what the difference is soon. Let's go to another question for the audience. So when do you think you should, so let's say you're designing a course, when do you think you should introduce gamification in your design process? So should you think about all of these things at the beginning, during, or at the end once your course has actually been created and produced? Any ideas? So we have in the chat, I see it says beginning, maybe all three.
Same answer.
Same answer. Okay, so beginning, all three. Yes? During? All right, so surprisingly enough, it's at the end. So basically, once the entire course has actually been designed, because unlike serious gaming or video games, where the game aspects are actually integrated seamlessly into the world generated by the content, gamification, is actually an added layer that you'll juxtapose on top of the course to add engagement using rewards and achievements. So as mentioned, gamification is different than serious gaming or video games. Serious gaming and video games have gaming at the heart of the learning objectives, whereas gamification is more something that you add to engage your users that's completely apart from the learning objectives of the course. So basically, you need to capture the big picture of the entire course before you can design what kinds of rewards you should be adding and where they need to pop up. And we'll get into this a bit later in the details, in the example. So in an ideal world, you would have access to your students and the audience for your course and be able to gather data on their perceptions and their past experiences with gamification before developing your course. Alas, this is rarely possible. So especially in the first iteration of your course. So if you plan on running your course more than once, which is, if you develop a whole course, you'll probably want to be running it more than once. So a good way to involve the students is to send them a survey, ask them questions at the end of your course about what kinds of changes or improvements that you would like to see. So you can ask them things about what type of motivation they had to follow the course. Are they comfortable with group work and collaboration? Are they comfortable with competition and leaderboards? Are they looking to collect badges or certificates? Do they want to share their results with their peers on social media? Because maybe you think that your audience is very interested in gamification, but maybe you'll run your course one time and notice after that they weren't really that into it. So keep in mind that gamification is not like this magic solution that'll improve a bad course design. So it shouldn't be used as a band-aid or for a course that's not entertaining or interesting. Above that, not all students actually enjoy gamification. So even if you, as the course designer, are really excited and you spent all this time and effort creating your course and you fell in love with your own concepts, you have to prioritize the students' needs. So if you're rewarding super simple tasks, for example, the students would have to do anyway, maybe gamification will become annoying or distract them from the content itself. Sometimes the students just need to focus on their learning and they don't want to be distracted by the hoo-haws and doodads. So also really important to keep in mind is that according to Universal Design for Learning, of course, the students benefit most from making choices in their learning environments. So in relation to gamification, research suggests that gamification is actually most effective when the student is allowed to choose whether or not to participate in the gamified approach. So keep that in mind when you're designing your course, to have an on and off switch. Sometimes it's not always possible, but always give that choice. So I'm going to pass it on to Yamna now so that she can show you how to implement gamification in Moodle.
Okay, so we have a question now. Can someone share an example of how to use gamification in a Moodle course? Do you have any experience with that? I can't read the chat because it's too far.
I see it.
I think completion badges. I think I've seen some of them being used. So I think once a student completes a certain segment of the course, they get a badge to represent their progress.
Yeah. Anyone else? Not seeing any ideas on Zoom.
I have more question. Can you create positive disruptions is it just like, are you talking about in what the content you put in Moodle or Moodle itself?
Moodle in a whole.
Sorry?
The whole Moodle course.
Okay.
In your Moodle course, how are you going to add gamification? Do you have any idea?
Okay, maybe like positive disruptions, so surprises. Or like if you ask somebody to make a choice and then it makes a different choice for them, then they're like, oh, and then they have to deal with this choice that they didn't make. So,
Okay. Okay, thank you. So now we are going to see how we can introduce gamification in Moodle. So actually, we have two options. We have the core Moodle features, which they exist actually in Moodle already, and we can use them. And we have the choice to add additional plugins to Moodle, but that work needs to be done by a Moodle administrator to be able to get access to those plugins. Oh, sorry. So we have actually in Moodle multiple ways to add gamification to a course. For example, we can use restriction, we can use activity completion, activity results block, which can be used as a leaderboard. We have also the gradebook in Moodle, we have the user report, and we have the badges. So we are going to see all those core Moodle features. So the restrictions are used to unlock content after a condition or multiple conditions are met using, for example, activity completion, dates, groups, groupings, as well as user profile. The activity completion, actually there are three options we can use with activity completion. The first option is to omit the completion tracking. The second option is when the student marks the activity as completed manually. The third option when certain conditions are met, such as gaining a certain grade or posing a replay on a forum. The activity results block displays results in any graded activity, such as a quiz or an assignment. It can be used as a leaderboard to engage students in a friendly competition. Results can be displayed in many ways, such as by highest or lowest grade, by student or group name, student ID, and even keeping them anonymous. The gradebook is a powerful tool in Moodle that records the marks of all activities in a course. You can customize the settings to display grades and ranks. The user report can be used to display, for example, ranks and the grades. A fun way to display the user report as part of a gamification strategy is to use an HTML block. You can add a title, for example, ranking and grades, and an image and a link to the user report. You can add the HTML block to the home page of the course. Badges are collectible items received when tasks or activities are accomplished. There are two types of badges actually in Moodle. Moodle site-wide badges created by Moodle administrator, and they appear in the dashboard of the student in the latest badges block. The Moodle course badges were created by the profs, and they appear in the course page. So we can also add additional plugins for gamification and games to Moodle by installing those plugins, but as I said, by Moodle administrator. So the first one, the blog stash plugin, allows you to stash items throughout the course within pages and activities to be picked up by students. They can be embedded within any Moodle description or even a quiz feedback. When picked up, they are added to the blog stash, where students can keep track of collected items. Moreover, stash items can be traded for other stash items. The workplace course certificate is a useful activity to add to a course. Students gain access to the certificate where certain conditions are met. A Moodle administrator can use the certificate manager tool to create a certificate template. When the course certificate activity is added to the course, the certificate template will auto-generate information such as the name of the course, the name of the student, and other information such as a QR code. Many plugins exist to add games to Moodle course. Using the Game Activity plugin, you can create games such as Hangman, crossword puzzles, cryptex, and more, all based on the content of in your glossary and question bank. With the Block Game plugin, you can create ranks, scores, and levels for activities. Sorry, I went ahead.
All right, so thank you, Yamna, for presenting the core Moodle plugins and also some additional plugins. We'll have some more additional, because I see the time is, we went a little bit faster than I thought we would, so we'll have some more additional plugins to share with you after the example. So I'm going to show you now an example of how we used Moodle in an onboarding course at Knowledge One. So I won't go into all the details, but I'll show you the map, and I'll show you a little bit. There's a little video that shows you, like, if you're a new employee, what you have to do, and then I'll go into a little bit of details about the badges and the stash items that we integrated in there.
When my team decided to gamify our onboarding course for the Human Resources Department, we went through an iterative process that started with collecting our colleagues' feedback. We decided to implement a structural gamification approach since the Human Resources onboarding training was already well structured and reviewed. The goal was to engage participants through the content by using rewards and games.
All right, so don't get overwhelmed by this huge image on the, I guess that's the right, on the right. So the image on the right is a map. So students can see these separately. You see that, like, there's the top and the bottom of the map, okay? So the students would see these two things separately. The top of the map is explaining how you can collect the badges throughout the modules. So basically, there's 4 different parts of the course: the who we are, K1 experience, teams and working environment, and professionalism and work ethics. And all of those blue links are clickable, and they take you to different trainings within the Moodle. And so once you've gone through all of these links and completed the training, within Moodle, you collect the badge that you can see. And so you see the 4 parts add up to a complete badge at the end. Once you've collected all 4 badges, you receive the certificate. So there's kind of a lead up to having done the whole thing. Now you've done it, congratulations, you get a little certificate. Along the way as well, we decided to put stash items throughout the course. so that people would be able to collect little items that would be related to little tasks that they would have to do. So if we see, for example, at the bottom, post a comment to introduce yourself, book a meeting with someone, read an article, virtual tea or coffee with a buddy. These are all kinds of little tasks that the person who's being onboarded would have to perform. And once they've performed these tasks, they can click and collect the stash item, and it would show up in their Moodle dashboard as a collected stash item. And the idea is that you collect all the stash items and then you can trade them. So you can see that once you've collected in part 1, the post a comment, introduce yourself, book a meeting with someone, and read an article, you're going to receive the bronze key, right? So once you've received the bronze key, you go on to part 2, you collect the next items, you go on to part 3, you collect those 3 items, and then you receive the silver key. Once you've received the bronze key, the silver key, you go on to part 4, and you can collect all the items, and then you can exchange them for the gold key. So it's kind of a lead up to collecting stash items to receive the keys. So one way that participants could collect badges was by completing games at the end of the modules. So these were course level badges. So what that means, as Yamna explained, is since there's course level badges and I guess Moodle level badges, right? What was that?
Well, white side.
Yeah, course-wide badges. So the course-wide badge would be like, you complete your profile, and so you get a badge outside of the entire course. But then, the course-wide badge, you get the profile for the whole thing. Then if you want to do just the badge within a course itself, it would be like completing a game or a certain activity or a certain section or all kinds of activities together. You can set it up so that you receive a specific badge. So here we added the profile complete badge that was course-wide, and then the badge for completing the quiz venture at the end of part 1 that was just specific to the onboarding course. Another thing that we added was a progress bar. And course completion criteria to track the participation and the progress of the students. So basically, to introduce fun, we added 3 different games. We had Hangman and Crossword using the game activity, and we had Quiz Venture plugin. So we also created a certificate. So basically, keep in mind that you should be customizing the gamification features to fit the needs of your course, right? So what we did is maybe not going to be your solution, but talk about it with your team, or if you're alone, ruminate a little bit. It's not a really one-size-fits-all situation. You're going to want to really customize the gamification to your own course. So let's recap. That was a lot of information. So here's a little bit of takeaways. Did you want to?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, so basically gamification is not serious gaming or video games. So keep that in mind, right? It's something that you're going to add as a layer on top of your already existing course with its own learning objectives. Gamification can be collecting badges, stash items, receiving certificates, gaining experience points, having leaderboards. Also introduce gamification at the end, like I said, when the entire structure of your course has been decided. And if you want to talk about go back.
Okay.
And then the last one, sorry. Some features are core to Moodle, like restrictions, badges, progress tracking, the gradebook, and leaderboards. And some of them are just downloadable additional plugins, like stash items, certificates, and games.
Okay, so we have few knowledge checks. As a professor, you have been told that gamification is a good option to increase student engagement. So the answer number 1, A, yes, but when possible, it's better to involve students and get their feedback. B, no, need to involve students. They will be engaged by collecting stash items, badges, and certificate. Yes, gamification is the magic solution to improve a bad course design. And D, no, in any case, gamification has no impact on student engagement. So what is your answer?
So you can type in the chat or you can say it out loud. We have a lot of people saying A. We have an A in the chat. What do you think, Jana?
Okay.
Is everybody on the same page?
Let's see what is the right answer.
Good job, everybody.
Congratulations. The question number 2, how can Moodle features be customized to implement gamification in a course? A, by adjusting the gradebook, badges, and leaderboards, activity results block for that, by adding more content to the course like videos and text-based content, by adding more quizzes. It is impossible to introduce gamification in a Moodle course. So what do you think?
I see some A's. We have a body sculpture of an A.
Are you sure that's the A? Okay, let's see.
Yay.
Oh, okay, that's great. So today we
good to
saw a lot of examples with the gradebook, badges, and leaderboards using the activity results block, which is a basic feature in Moodle. So it's available for anybody. Okay, question number 3. What are the possible benefits of using gamification in a Moodle course? A, increased student engagement and participation, improved motivation and achievement, enhanced collaboration and teamwork skills, or all the above? All of the above. No?
All right. Good. Perfect.
Okay.
Everybody's awake. Everybody's following.
Let's see.
You're not in the post-lunch blues.
Congratulations. So the answer is D, all of the above. Question number 4. What type of activities can be gamified in Moodle? A, quizzes and online discussion, group projects and presentation, assignment and readings or videos. Or D, all the above, all of the above. Okay, so what do you think?
We're seeing D's in Zoom.
We're seeing some D's, yeah.
Okay, you are right. So the right answer is D. It means you can introduce gamification almost everywhere in Moodle. The question number 5. Can chatbots be incorporated in a gamified Moodle course? A, yes, chatbots can provide personalized feedback and support. No, chatbots are not compatible with Moodle. Chatbots can only be used in virtual classrooms. Or D, chatbots can only be used for mental health or administrative support. So,
We have some A's. Let's see.
let's see.
Yay.
Yes, so chatbots can provide personalized feedback and support, and we are going to present you another presentation about chatbots next. So thank you. We will be happy to have your question.
Thank you, everyone. If you have questions.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks. That was really great. It's really good to know how it can be incorporated into Moodle. I just had a question in general about gamification because, when it's in one course, it can be cool. But do you think that the students, like the engagement goes down when it starts showing up in multiple courses, or every course is gamified and then it's kind of expected? I don't know. I'm just curious if there's an oversaturation of gamification that's possible, because some of it is a little contrived, right? I mean, we're trying to do it to sort of get the students to be engaged and they like gaming, and gamification stuff is kind of fun. But do you think that there's sort of diminishing returns at some point, or have you seen anything in the research about that? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, go.
I think if we look at universal design for learning, what's important is that the students can turn it off. So they're not forced to go through the gamification. So it might have a diminishing return, especially if they're forced, right? Because imagine you have 4 university classes and each one of them has all these gamification aspects to them, and it might just be too much. So not attaching like a grade to it, just using it more for engagement and motivation, and not forcing the student, I think is really important, so that you don't have that kind of annoyance on the part of the student.
Thank you.
Okay, so my question is more for Emmy, but I try to put game-like elements in my courses, but I do it more on the storyline side than the Moodle side. So what would be like the benefits, or what do you prefer doing, vice versa? Yeah,
I think that in the authoring tool can be fun as well. What I like about Moodle is that it's faster and easier to track everything. It's all inside Moodle, and there's a lot more options to track and all that. Whereas within Storyline, you're tracking the interactivities that you're creating in Storyline, which can be more limited. And if you want those interactivities to be transferring the grades and all that information to Moodle, that's another added step. So I think one of the most fun ways is to kind of combine them, right? You have your authoring tools, you can use Moodle, Rise, iSpring, doesn't matter. You kind of, like example, the map that I showed, that was actually in iSpring. So iSpring is a lot like Storyline. It looks like a PowerPoint, but it's clickable, it's interactive. And so that was actually in iSpring. And then they clicked through that whole map, but it brought them in Moodle. And whenever they hit those pages and viewed them, it tracked inside Moodle. And so the Moodle was tracking what they were doing. So I really like combining them both, actually.
Any final comments in the space or online?
this is just for me personally. What did you use to make your animations? Do you animate it, or is it like a program?
Yeah, well, everything was done in PowerPoint except those 2 little videos, which are done in Vyond.
Okay.
So Vyond is a very simple, easy animating program with a lot of automated templates and all that. And the voice is from Well Said Labs. So it's an AI generated voice that has a lot of different accents and genders and different parts of the world that are represented. So, and it sounds like the most realistic AI that we've been able. So I don't work for them. I'm not advertising, but it's been really helpful in bringing a lot of animations to life.
Yeah. Thank you.
Looks like we're cluing up. Yes, awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you.